You open your laptop Monday morning. Before you think one thought, a dashboard already tells you whether you had a good week, a score, a percentage, a green, or a red number. And the strange part? You start believing it. You stop asking if that number is right. You just try to fix it. That feeling that a machine knows your value better than you do has a name. And a 30-year-old book explains exactly how it happened and what to do about it. Welcome to the Postman Files on Technology and Career, a special series of book takeaways for professional growth podcast for global professionals who want to think more clearly in a world full of noise, tools, and pressure. My name is Marcus, and over 3 episodes, we are reading Neil Postman, one of the most important media thinkers of the last century, and translating his ideas directly into your career and your daily work life. Today's episode is based on his 1992 book, Technopoly, The Surrender of Culture to Technology. And our central question is simple. How do I protect my career and my judgment when my company worships technology and metrics? Let's begin. Segment 1. What is a technopoly? Neil Postman was a professor in New York University. He spent his career studying one question. What does technology do to the way we think? In Technopoly, he makes a very clear argument. He says that cultures go through 3 stages in their relationship with technology. First, there are tool-using cultures. These are societies that use tools to solve specific problems: a hammer, a wheel, a printing press. The tools serve the people. The people are still in charge. Second, there are technocracies. In these cultures, tools become more powerful. They start to challenge old traditions and old ways of thinking, but human values, religion, family, ethics, still compete with the tools. There is still a debate. Then comes the 3rd stage, Technopoly. This is where we are now. In a technopoly, technology wins the debate. There is no competition anymore. Efficiency becomes the highest good. Data is trusted more than experience. Measurement is trusted more than judgment. And any question that a machine cannot answer starts to feel like a bad question. Postman's key phrase is this: in a technopoly, culture surrenders to technology. Now, when you hear that, you might think, yes, but I am not a machine. I still make decisions. And that is true. But here's Postman's deeper point. A technopoly doesn't force you. It trains you. It trains you to trust the system, to not ask inconvenient questions, to measure yourself against numbers that somebody else designed. And once you accept those numbers as real, the surrender has already happened. Segment 2. What this looks like at work today. Let me make this concrete. Think about the last time a tool, a system, or a report changed your behavior at work, not because you agreed with it, but simply because it was there, and it was official. Maybe it was a performance rating that didn't reflect your actual impact. Maybe it was an AI resume screener that filtered out a brilliant candidate because of the wrong keyword. Maybe it was a productivity app that made you feel guilty for thinking slowly. Postman would say, welcome to the technopoly. He has a powerful example in the book. He talks about a king in ancient Egypt named Thamus. A god comes to Thamus and offers him the gift of writing. The god says, "This is wonderful. It will improve memory. It will help your people learn." And Thamus refuses. He says, "You are wrong. Writing will weaken memory because people will stop practicing it, and it will give people the appearance of wisdom without the substance." Now, Thamus may have been too pessimistic about writing, but Postman's point is not about the answer. It is about the question. Thamus asked, what does this technology take away? We almost never ask that question today. When a company introduces a new AI performance system, we ask, how does it work? We ask, what does it measure? We almost never ask, What does it stop us from doing? What kind of judgment does it replace? And are we comfortable with that replacement? That missing question is very expensive for your company and for your career. Here is the most dangerous effect at work. When you stop asking questions and start trusting the system completely, you slowly give away responsibility. If the algorithm decides who gets promoted, it is not your fault. If the model says the strategy is correct, who are you to disagree? Postman calls this the ideology of technique, the belief that the right method, the right tool, the right process will always produce the right answer. And once a culture accepts this belief deeply enough, individual judgment is no longer needed or respected. That is what can happen to a career in a technopoly. Not all at once, slowly, quietly. Segment 3. The professional's technopoly targets most. Postman argues that certain workers are the most vulnerable. Not factory workers. Their displacement is obvious and visible. The most vulnerable people are knowledge workers. People whose job is to think, to advise, to judge, to lead. Why? Because when a machine can summarize, recommend, predict, and score at a fraction of the cost, the question becomes, what are you for? If you cannot answer that question clearly, a technopoly will answer it for you. And its answer will be, you are for executing instructions that the system generates. The professionals who survive and thrive are those who can say, confidently, I add something the machine cannot. I frame problems. I ask uncomfortable questions. I hold contradictions in my head. I build trust with human beings. That is not arrogance. That is protection. And Postman wrote about it 30 years before AI became part of daily work. Segment 4. Actionable Insights. Here are 3 actions you can take this week, directly from Postman's thinking. Action 1. Map your surrender points. Take a piece of paper. Write down 3 decisions in your work where you usually default to because the system says so. Maybe a forecast tool, maybe a scoring algorithm, maybe a meeting cadence set by a project app. For each one, write 1 sentence about what human judgment you could add back. It doesn't need to be a big change. A manual review, a conversation, a second opinion from a person who knows the context. Just bring your judgment back into the room. Action 2. Renegotiate 1 metric. Find 1 number that is currently driving your behavior, but that you privately think is incomplete or even misleading. Then, this week, bring a proposal to your manager or your team. 1 additional indicator that captures what the number misses. You don't need to kill the metric, you just need to expand what gets counted. Action 3. The adoption filter. Before you add any new tool or AI system to your work, write down, in 1 or 2 sentences, the answers to 2 questions. What specific problem is this solving? And what will this replace or reduce in how we currently work? Share those sentences with at least 1 colleague. Make the decision conscious, not automatic. Closing and what's next? Neil Postman is not asking you to quit technology. He is not nostalgic for typewriters. He is asking you to be the kind of professional who uses tools, rather than the kind that tools use. That is the difference between working inside a technopoly and working above one. Next episode, we go 1 level deeper. If Technopoly explains the system around you, the next book explains what that system has done inside your mind, to your ability to focus, to think seriously, and to connect with people in a real way. The book is Amusing Ourselves to Death. And the question we will answer is, why can't I focus anymore? And is my media diet quietly destroying my productivity and my relationships? Subscribe so you don't miss it. And tell 1 person, just 1 person, about this podcast. Tell them it's not a summary show. Tell them it's for people who are busy but don't want to be ignorant. Tell them that every episode will give them something they can use immediately. See you next time on the Postman Files on Technology and Career, our special series in the Book Takeaways for Professional Growth podcast. And together, we'll keep growing.